Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another Supercoach Insider podcast. My name is Swiz. Just quickly jumping on here on Friday night as we count down to Sydney Hawthorn. Not much, obviously, happening from a Supercoach perspective for our teams in regards to locking them in. But as always, we are watching some of the players tonight, some very important players for us to monitor. I'll quickly talk a bit about that, but this is more about our tipping and also Draftstars competition. I have no affiliation with them. It is a word of warning, gamble responsibly, but I do like getting involved with it. I do get questions about it quite a bit, about how to play and everything. So I thought, why not? Let's jump on, do a quick live as we lead into tonight's show. As always, check us out on all our social media platforms, in particular YouTube, Spotify. Get in touch with us via Supercoach Insider 100 or Swiz 26 for me. Beautiful. We're back there. Sorry about that, guys. Wi-Fi is a little dodgy out here at the moment where I'm at. But yeah, so they've done all their pre-season videos. We've got our latest ones out. And I've also had one recently where I've chatted to the AFL Association fans president just to talk about all the issues in AFL. So if you do have like issues, especially with like things like ticketing, membership, getting tickets, all that sort of stuff, leave a comment on that video. I will be passing them on to Ron, and he's going to be sitting down with Andrew Dillon soon. So great opportunity for us fans to voice our opinion. All right, we'll start off with the tipping. So we've got our Supercoach Insider League there. So the code is 624436, 624436. You can link straight into it from the show notes, but I have put it up on the X page. But yeah, all you need to do is go into your Supercoach page, press the tips part. It'll take you in, register there, and you can join our squad. We do have the ability to add experts. It's actually different and funny. If you create your own league, the experts they have for this is actually quite different to what they have in Supercoach. A lot of them are the guys who are involved in the Coach Sports team. No surprise, but they do have Graham Corns, Kiss of Death, Gazy. I guess everybody can kind of anybody can do tipping. Sarah Jones is in there, a few of the AFLW players and stuff like that. There's actually a lot. Eliza Riley, who's been on the show too, so I might even add her onto the league. Phantom's a good guy to look. Lachlan McCurdy, also a friend of the show. So yeah, some interesting people there for the tipping that you can sort of do. So we'll get onto my tips for this weekend. So I am picking the Sydney Swans. I'm picking them by 15 points. I think Hawthorn, even actually first with Sydney, even with their outs in like Gould and Mills, I still think they should be too strong. I think Hawthorn's midfield's just not up to the quality of what Sydney's midfield is. But the bigger issue is who kicks Hawthorn's goals. I'm kind of quite worried about what they're going to do there. Their backline has been completely fixed. I love their backline. Barras, Battle, if Sicily's dropping back, Froster's in there. They're going to cause a lot of problem for the Swannies as well. But still, I feel like the Swannies have avenues to goal through their half forwards and their midfield, where the Hawks, I'm just kind of worried. It's a big reliant on those sort of midfielders, especially with no Lewis to kind of straighten them up. It's a lot of pressure on Scholl. They're not playing Gunston tonight either. So I'm kind of worried on that sort of point of view. And the Swans, they're a very good team. Like, even though with the change of coach, I don't see them dropping off that much this season. So I think the Swans should be too good for the Hawks tonight. And I'm picking the Pies against the Giants. I know there's a lot of chat about the Giants this year. I've heard it on Midday Madness. I think Dwayne might have had them top 2 or something like that, maybe meaning his premiership side. Dylan and Alexandra does a great job with all the draft stuff. I know he's got them quite highly rated, like in the top 2. I think a lot of the captains also had them as like the second most likely to be the premiers. I don't see that way. I think the Giants are probably sort of 6th, 7th, 8th. That's more like them because though they have improved their forward line, I get worried about their midfield. Like we know Tom Green's missing early. It's a lot on Finn Callahan at the moment. Cal Ward is aging. Canelio didn't look that good the other day. I think he's close to becoming shot from a premium midfield sense. And then you got Kelly as well. So we know he's soft tissue injury history, and they've lost a lot of depth players as well. Like, you can't kind of lose guys like Peatling, Cumming, Perryman, that I think that's going to test them as the season rolls on. So I am worried a little bit more about the Giants. I still think they're good enough forward line if they're all fit and firing. Toby Green, Hogan, Stringer. I feel like they'll dominate a lot of the lower teams, but I just worry once they're up against the teams that are competing for the top four. And I think the Pies can do that this year. They look a better team now. I know they don't have Houston tonight, but when Houston and Perryman coming in that side, the fact they're fit, I think the Pies rebound. So I'm on the Pies. I'm also on the Swans this weekend. So that's those two. Now we'll jump over to the Draftstars situation for tonight's game. And the great thing with Draftstars early on in the season, there is a lot of value with players. So you can kind of pick up some of those players that we're looking at Supercoach. Now they do go off a fantasy scoring, so it is slightly different. Again, gamble responsibly here, guys. I'm happy to plug it because there are free games to play in this. So it's no different, I guess, Supercoach, because all of it's a form of gambling, but you can kind of play free games. So that's why I'm happy to go it. So we can click on AFL. And if we go down here, we can see Sydney and Hawthorn. But what we want to go, we'll go to there's the free game. I've already put my team in there, so I'll do the paid. But you can go free, and there's usually not as many options because it's free. The prize pool is $5. I think it's $250 for first, like $1.50 for second, $1 for third. So it's not much money in there, but that's how I actually first started. I played one of the games, won it, got the $250, and then from there, like I don't have much money in the account at the moment because I've taken quite a bit of it out. And then I started playing the paid games there, and then they have obviously all different options. Again, as I said, I'm mindful about the gambling side of this, but there is multiple different types of games you can play. There's 150 buys-ins and then down to 50-cent buy-in. And as you can see, the amount of entries when it comes to the smaller games. So already they've got nearly 1,200 people signed up. Top 1,111 are going to get paid out tonight. Prize pool was $2,000, obviously bigger prize pool for the other ones. And then they have these qualifiers that you get into bigger money events. So everyone's different. So we'll just go into the 50-cent one. So I can sort of talk through the players that you got tonight. So you get a salary cap of $100,000. Average works out to be 111. You choose 9 players, 2 from the forwards, 4 from the mids, 2 from defenders, and 1 from the rucks. And as I said, it's like no different to picking your little super coach or your fantasy team on any given week. So forward line, as I said, there is value at the moment. So you got guys like Wicks, Warner. So whoever's probably not sub out of there, it's not a bad option. James Jordan scored really well in the practice match as well. So again, we're looking kind of for more of the fantasy guys if they're going to kind of rack it up. Need to be mindful of double checking this and maybe wait putting your team in until the sub is announced if you want to do that. So and then you kind of get up to the high end guys like Heaney and more also forwards and mids. These will change throughout the season. We'll start off with the rucks because there's only 2 options. We've got Grundy versus Meek. Do I want to save $20 and go Meek? Just because Grundy's kind of had that interrupted preseason, I'll go Meek. So it does take up a bit of our salary cap there. Does say we've now spent 14% of it. Our average has gone down to 10,729. So we do have to be mindful of how much we're spending. Mids is where the bulk points always comes from. Again, there's some guys there with a little bit of value. The new guy, Tom Hanley, at $6,000. I don't mind the idea of Corey Warner just because there's a couple of guys missing out of here. So, but the fact that Goulden's missing does change a few things. So that does bring guys like Sheldrick into play. We know like guys like Massimo do rack up the kind of the ball fantasy. You can actually kind of have a look at their history as well. So they were their games last season, and you can see Massimo, he had some massive games, more probably the right matchup. It might not suit him so much tonight at the MCG, but you can go through and have a look at how they've gone and sort of what sort of points you need to, or what sort of players you need to target. So if I click on him, it shows how much salary cap I've gone. I'm not going to go Massimo tonight because I don't think he's necessarily the right call. And then so you can kind of go through there. So I like Newcomb. I think he's going to probably, obviously him and James Warple are going to be the 2 in the CBAs. They're going to be the ones working hard. Warple scores kind of up and down. They're not the greatest, but I think just because I feel like maybe Day bounces between half forward and the forward line and the midfield just a little bit more than normal. So I don't mind taking kind of a chance on Warple at that price. He is interesting. But the other one who's slightly not much more different is Rowbottom. Again, Rowbottom is just a solid guy, but because there is no Mills, no Gordon in there, I think he's not a bad bet tonight. So, and then you can see here on the side my team as it goes. I will answer a couple of the other questions. Oh, Damo, yes, this is my pick in a draft. Yeah, cool, mate. I'll get to it soon. Love that, mate. Okay, so there we go. We've got Rowbottom, and I like Newcomb. What does Chad Warner kind of do? Let's have a kind of little look here. No, he scores pretty poor for a guy that's actually that expensive. So no thanks. Jakey Lloyd might be an interesting one tonight because he is taking Goulden's spot. He's had some big games out on the wing, and because obviously Goulden's not there, he could be a real smoky in this. McInerney the same as well. But like McInerney his value is actually quite cheaper because there's been games there where he's been sub or he's been playing the wrong role. But when he has the right role, he does put up 90s in this. So I think he's actually a really good bet at $10,000. So picking your value. So like it'd be kind of cool if Supercoach, I always said this, like if Supercoach had kind of a side game that you could just play each week or like each game. But so Draftstars is obviously what we've got as close to that. So I do like that. From a midfield, I'll go down to just the forwards at the moment and see if we can actually pick up a couple of forwards. James Jordan, again, if he's not sub, could be an interesting one just because the guys are missing. But the problem is he does seem to tag a lot. So, but he is quite cheap. So I'll go down to even the cheaper guys. Wicks, now that he's actually got a role and he'll be starting in this side, usually not a great player in the history of this. We look at all these 20s and 30s and stuff, but a lot of them have like been sub dependent. So I actually quite like him, and I quite like Corey Warner in this as well because again, sub affected games where if he is not the sub, if he ends up being the sub, it's an easy swap for me. I'll get back in and swap that around. The only problem is I'm getting quite a few swans in here, but now my average remaining has actually gone up to nearly 12,000. I've spent 64 of my salary cap, and I only need one more midfielder and two defenders, which does give me a few options. I'll go to the defense now. There is a guy in defense who is a lot of value tonight, and that's Dane Rampy. He's only in the 6,000s. So I do like him. And you can kind of see some of those scores when he's had the right role. He can at least pop, if he can pop 70s at that price, it's awesome. So I really do like Rampy. Again, it's another swan, but we will deal with that. And then now I'm averaging actually 14,000. So I might even able to make a move here and put one of these guys up if I really want to. And then the back line. So there's some great options in the back line. Massimo also actually comes in as a backman. Amon, he's had some good high scores too. But I'm going to avoid Sicily tonight because I just don't know what the role is. The new guy for the Hawks battle is again a very interesting one. If they're going to see a lot of ball, I think he could be one that could do a bit of damage there, takes him into set marks. So he has had some good scores, but just mindful that was for St Kilda. But he's not bad value. But the fact I've got the money, let's go to the midfield and we'll see what we've got left over. So if I go the main man, if I go up to Isaac Heaney, who we know is an absolute superstar, has the odd quiet game, but if he's up and about, he just scores well. Takes me up to 86%. I've still got 13,000 remaining. Can I get to Matty Roberts, which is the key? No, I'm just short, so I might make a change here because Matt Roberts, now with that full role for himself, he's probably more of a Supercoach guy, but we know at his best, and if he's getting those halfback points, he can be great. So maybe I do that, but at the same time, I'm feeling like I don't have enough Hawks here. I don't feel like the Swans are going to dominate that much. So I can afford Massimo. So maybe I will go Massimo tonight. Massimo is a consistent scorer in this, a couple of poor games, but he does usually go over 100. So let's go Massimo. So I end up with $30 remaining exactly. So that's pretty good. So I've used most of my salary cap, Wicks and Warner, and I can swap one of them. So if one of them is sub, I do have the ability to go the 6,000 guy, and that means Hanley won't be the sub. So I can sort of make a move there. And because I've got Heaney, I can just put Heaney in my forward line. So I can swap them around. And so I'm going to go Wicks, Warner, Newcomb, Rowbottom, McInerney, Heaney, Rampy, Massimo, and Leake is my team. Submit that because this is actually costing me money, 50 cents. I'm going to confirm. And there we go. We are in. I can play more. So that is my Draftstars for tonight. Again, also, looking at you can already have a look at the Collingwood Giants game. So the free one enter there. There is fell, you guys. Obviously, you'd probably wait to Sunday for this, but we already know that some of these players have been confirmed. So Connor Stone at 6,000. Reef McGuinness is an interesting one at 6,000 because he's obviously had sub-impact games. But if he's going to be a starter, there's no reason why he couldn't score maybe a 50 at 6K. It's good. But Connor Stone definitely could be one that could score quite well because he's always just had sub-affected matches, and now that he has the role. So that's how you kind of boost your monies, because you're going to want some of these key guys. Josh Dacos does come in for a defender for this, and so does Perryman. Josh Dacos is pretty consistent, especially if he's waxing with his brother. Lockie Whitfield, is an absolute star. Some of these scores are massive, so you've got to sort of balance if you're going to go sort of these top guys. Lockie Ash could be an interesting one, just because now we know, then there's no Cumming, there's no Peatling, there's no Perryman. Pretty consistent anyway. So coming in at just 11,000, he's not a bad pick as well. And then, Perryman, who you can get in defence or you can get in your midfield. It's small scores because of the role he played at the Giants, but if he is playing in that midfield, he's not bad as well. So have a look at him. Lockie Shields could be an interesting one because he's coming under a little bit underpriced. I feel like he might have a better season than he did last year. So one to kind of watch. And then, the forwards are a little bit tougher on here. But because the Giants do have a few guys who are 6,000, you can probably take a risk, because all they need is sort of score 50, and that'll allow you to sort of get these premium midfielders. And the two that you're going to want this week is Finn Callaghan, naturally taking the whole load at the Giants. 13,000 is not a bad price for him. And then Nick Dacos, surprisingly, isn't as high price as some of the other players in the league, because from a fantasy point of view, he does have the odd quiet game. He could be a good fade at the same time, because it depends who Bedford's going to, and that might be the hard call. So, like he might just be good enough to burn it, and maybe if Bedford does go to his brother. So I think that might be the one that really decides the draft stars, because a lot of people are going to want Nick if Bedford locks him down and you fade him. And the thing with draft stars is the free one, you can only put in one team. But obviously the ones that you pay, you can actually put in multiple teams. So again, gamble responsibly, but you can do that. Couple questions just from the Supercoach point of view that we will answer right now. Would you go Dacos or Sarong? I'm on the Sarong train. I'm being huge in Sarong. It all depends how Dacos goes this weekend. If Dacos smashes it, I'm still not getting Sarong out for him. I'm just finding another way to get Dacos in. So he's on my mind, definitely. But Sarong for me has been locked in. He isn't changing at all. Damo, my draft stars team for tonight. I love this, Damo. Thanks for jumping on. Wicks, McDonald. I don't mind the McDonald pick. Yeah. McDermott, McInerney, Rowbottom, Newcomb, Hanley, Roberts, Weedle, and Meek. I looked at Weedle, and I think he's a good price. But at the same time, I actually really think he's more of a Supercoach guy than can be a little bit of a draft star. So I'm just worried about how much ball he might actually find. But Weedle. But I didn't mind it when it first opened. I looked at it. He was one of the first guys I picked. So I was just sort of doing a little bit more research and thinking, oh, maybe he isn't as good as it was. But I actually don't mind that team, mate. It'd be interesting head to head against you, Damo. Probably not good for me. But so there's a short one, guys. Again, tips if you want to join the league, jump on. And I am picking the Swans, 15 points. Collingwood this week. And again, that league code, if you want to come and join our Supercoach Insider League, it's on the in the show notes, the link, but it's 624436. Thank you, guys. Good luck this weekend. We'll be back once obviously all the games are done to do a bit of a review of them, and hopefully it's a cracking opening round of footy. Catches. Bye.